My life was severely affected before I came in for therapy. And I'd been to numerous doctors over more than 10 years, 15 years of my life. And nobody could ever figure out what was wrong with me. My issues were, I likened it to urinary tract infection. A lot of women know what those feel like, and that's what I thought I was having, only I was having so many recurring urinary tract infections that I actually had a never-ending supply of antibiotics, which it turned out later on I didn't need, but we didn't know that. And I couldn't figure out why I was having all of this pain and what brought them on, and it was while I was in graduate school. My father told me, he said, why don't you try to do one more round of doctors? Go to a board-certified urologist again. Try this again. And I did, and the urologist told me that he had just had a woman come shadow him and tell him the kinds of patients that he could refer to her, and it turned out to be Kimberly. So he said, I think you might be a good case for her. And I think I was one of his first referrals to her. And so I came here, not knowing what to expect. And when I got here, Kimberly told me something miraculous. She said my symptoms were classic. And no one had ever known what to do with me before. No one had ever known what was wrong with me. No one had ever really put their hands on me before and felt the muscles and felt that my muscles apparently were insanely tight. And I didn't know that because I'm just me and I only know the experience of my own body. And apparently they'd been tight for so long that I had no idea that they were even abnormal. And Kimberly felt me and said, I was in exactly the right place. Those were her words. And it was such a relief to finally find out what was wrong with me. And it turns out I never had urinary tract infections at all. It was pain from very tight muscles seizing up in my pelvic region. We still don't know what caused it, why it happened, why me, who knows. But now that I'm through, it's kind of been a miracle. For me, it was mostly manual manipulation because I was just so tight and everything really, really needed to be stretched out. There were definitely some things that I did at home to strengthen my muscles, but mostly it was manual manipulation. I tell my friends I was going to physical therapy and they imagined, somebody moving a knee, and I never said otherwise, but my life was severely affected. My symptoms could attack at any time. I never knew what was going to happen. I was very good at school because when you go to school, you actually are not in class very often. And so if I missed a class, I could get somebody's notes, make it up, or I didn't have to be in class that much. So I was good, and I got a master's from a good program. But I never got a job. I never got a full-time job on purpose because I knew that if I was expected to be somewhere behind a desk from 9 to 5, I would fall apart. I would have symptoms and have to run to a bathtub, and there's no bathtub. That was the only thing that helped me, was a bathtub, was getting in hot water. And I found out now, it's obvious, it's because my pelvic floor region was so tight that when I got in hot water, it would allow it to relax and it would give me some relief. And I used to spend hours in the bathtub. So just imagine having to plan a life around random hours in a bathtub that no one except for your husband knows about. And still to this day, most people don't know that I was going through that because it's such a touchy thing to talk about. But this therapy has helped me so much that I'm willing to tell other people because it's completely changed my life. I am an entrepreneur. I have my own business. It's going very well. And I have a baby. I have a 7-month-old baby. And, I'm not sure if I would have had children because that region hurt so much. And I'm not sure I would have been able to carry my business forward to fruition. And so my life is completely different. And I no longer worry on vacation that I'm going too far from my own bathtub. I had to make sure I had access to a bathtub at all times. And now I can do things without thinking about that, which sounds small, but is really, really huge.
Seeking
I'd say
treatment?
that in our culture, and probably in a lot of cultures, this is a weird part of your body. And people don't talk about it. And I think that might have been one of the reasons that it took me so long to get the proper treatment, even though I was going to gynecologists and urologists. They were asking me a bunch of questions that didn't really have to do with what was happening to me. And it turns out it's because I wasn't in the right place. But I didn't know that. And finding the right place and finally talking about it and getting it dealt with has been fantastic. And I'd say open up and deal with your issue, because there is an awesome life waiting on the other side.